Welcome to a second update in which we are actually seeing not too much strength on this weekly candle right now. We are seeing a corrective move, so I'm going to highlight a few levels that we have to watch based on the update that I've done earlier today. I've been saying some critical stuff about the current price movements of the market, and that's why I'm assuming we might be getting a relative corrective market before we're going to expand ourselves into the continuation of this bull cycle, as I truly believe that we're currently facing a lengthening cycle, as I've been discussing. We're going through the equity markets as well, and we're going to discuss Ethereum in this update too, and a little bit of Cardano. So let's get ahead. But before that, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also like this YouTube update if you enjoy the content. And finally, do not forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where I'm making daily updates on the markets. So first of all, let's look at the weekly candle of the equity markets, which, I mean, this is just completely fine. Had some very small corrective moves, but overall we're just doing just fine. And even today we are seeing a daily green candle, so not much to say there. Tesla also correcting heavily based on the fact that Elon Musk has sold a big portion of his shares. And also it was quite likely that we were going to correct with Tesla at some point, given the vertical axis that this price is going to show, or the vertical angle this price is showing at this point. Dutch stock markets also doing fine, looking at new all-time highs in the coming period. Very vertical chart, reminds me a lot of the structure that we've witnessed in 2000, or at least in the build-up towards 2000. I think we can still continue running. And yes, at some point the big financial crisis is going to happen and a reversal is going to take place. But as long as the money printing continues and they are not going to hike up the rates, everything is pretty much fine. What I'm watching is the 10-year yields at this stage. Why? Well, this one is in a downward trend since 1980s. That was the last period with high inflation. But it wasn't really high inflation at that point, given the fact that we also had high yields. So the net inflation was relatively low compared to the inflation that we have right now, given that we've got a yield that is 1.5%, but the inflation is about 7%, so it's actually impacting everyone. The moment that this one is going to reverse its trend, which is going to happen relatively in the coming years, then we're going to have a destructive pattern on the equity markets too. So I'm definitely watching the equity markets to unveil itself at some point in time. So looking at Bitcoin at this point, we can clearly see that we are having weakness, right? So the weekly candle we've discussed earlier today, in which we stated, okay, this is showing weakness. We don't really want to see the price pushing back all the way from breaking all-time high. And as a matter of fact, we are currently seeing that the price is breaking south. We are already at 62.6k. And that is not what you want to see if something breaks the all-time high area. So the assumption here is that we might be facing ourselves into a more constructive period where we're going to consolidate with the prices overall. What are levels to watch? The entire region around 55 to 58, which is also to be seen on the lower time frames. That is definitely an area that I'm looking at personally. Then second, the area around 52k is where I'm looking at for potential buys. And then finally, especially based on the weekly time frame, I'm looking at 45 to 48k next. Looking at the daily time frame, we can be quite clear. We've got this rising wedge structure here. We've got a bearish divergence being applied there now too, and we've got a potential breakdown to be taking place from this rising wedge structure in the coming weeks too. So plan B in the stock to flow model might be wrong, or we might be facing a period where the entire group of people that assume that we're into a 4-year cycle are actually going to face themselves that might not be true. How far can a correction go? Well, even if we get a standard 30% correction, we get all the way back towards 48k, and then we could still be bullish. Why? Well, even if we get towards 48k, we might still be making higher lows and higher highs, through which another consolidative period could be resulting into a massive big breakout in 2022, after which we also get a big alt season in Q1 of 2022. Only thing that I want to say here is that remaining skeptical is never bad to do. Based on the daily time frame, we can see that 53k is a very important level to watch. This entire block that we have here too, and then finally we've got this entire region around 45 to 48k as a crucial support zone. Most likely we might be getting a run back to 66, and then we start dropping down towards 58k and potentially even towards 53k. Clear breaker for me to continue bullishness is breaking back above 66k. If that is going to take place, I'm going to turn bullish once again, and then we might be facing a run towards 72 to 75k. But at this point, I'm definitely skeptical when it comes to the markets. Ethereum against USDT, very comparable to the price action that we've seen previously. No real retest has been taking place of this 4k area. So if this is going to reverse, which currently seems very likely to be taking place, as I assume that we're going to get a lower high and then we start dropping back, or at least we have to crack around 4,750 bucks, which seems unlikely at this stage. But if we get there, come back to support again, I'm assuming we're going to see a retest at 4k. Even if we get a further corrective move, the entire crucial area that I'm looking at is this entire region around 3.5. That could also be comparable to Bitcoin correcting all the way towards 48k, but that's not the case right now. We're just saying some levels, and we're just watching the fact that Bitcoin and Ethereum are showing weakness, and especially Bitcoin is ending off this week in a pretty bad manner. So I'm assuming that we're getting a period of consolidation at least after this impulse wave that took place. Ethereum against Bitcoin, still within the bullish pennant. We are waiting for a breakout to be taking place. We might be running back a little bit higher here before we're going to reverse. But overall, this is just showing us that we're going to have a big breakout from this bullish pennant happening somewhere in Q1 of 2022. But at this point, we're still stuck in the middle and just consolidating. Cardano against USDT, slight breakout or slight test of the resistance. Didn't really crack through it, and actually a heavy corrective move since, through which the levels are still standing. I've been shot for it. I've seen some negative comments on YouTube too, but I think being relatively normal or at least realistic about the markets helps you in defining structures on when to enter. Levels are still standing, and I do not see any bullishness from that one at this stage. Finally, Solana has been making all-time highs. Oh, I'm deleting it. I've been marking this level. We've actually hit the level, and we've actually also been expanding with the 1.618 Fibonacci level, through which I'm currently assuming that we're going to get some corrective moves. Crucial level to watch is this entire region, but the second level that you should be watching is the entire region that we have around 180 to 200 bucks. Two levels that I'm personally watching on Solana if you want to take any entry at this point. I hope you have enjoyed this update. I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh new one. And don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day.